So apparently there's a new Kung Fu Panda movie. Yeah, I don't know about this one. Now, when I first saw this trailer, I didn't really know what to expect, to be honest with you, because I didn't really think we needed a fourth movie after the original trilogy ended. Because it seemed like whatever, stories that they had for the Kung Fu Panda franchise, it seemed like everything else had kind of got wrapped up, after the trilogy. And it's really rare when we get a trilogy that isn't, So when they add a fourth movie to the franchise, I kind of just roll my eyes a little bit, because I don't really see no point or kind of like purpose to even have a fourth Kung Fu Panda movie. Because I don't know about y'all, but in the trailer, I didn't see any of the Furious 5 at all. Which, if you go back and watch some of the other trailers, I feel like they were kind of like plastered all over the other trailers. But like, I didn't see any of them in this trailer. So I'm wondering, are they even gonna be in this movie? Are they even a part of the franchise anymore? Because I feel like Kung Fu Panda 3 was the perfect place to kind of, wrap up the Kung Fu Panda franchise, because there wasn't really much more story to tell. Po had became the Dragon Warrior, he became, the spiritual leader and all that. So I don't really feel like there was much more story to tell at all. And I understand they're like trying to do like this whole passing of the torch thing with him and Shifu, but I just don't think that we needed this to be another movie. Like, that was kind of already implied at the end of Kung Fu Panda 3. And like I said before, like, it's rare when we get a sequel that's actually good and not just the first movie being good and the second and the third movie end up being trash. So I feel like this won't really be as good as the first 3 movies, because it's not necessary. And there's no point for us to be watching Kung Fu Panda 4. Because this is kind of one of those things where, like, I kind of felt the same way about Pokemon after a while. It's like there's only so much, more story that they could make up and attempt to tell when you've been doing it for like the past, 20-25 years. And it's like, after 3 Kung Fu Panda movies, how much more story can we really tell about Po and his journey or whatever, when his journey was essentially finished after Kung Fu Panda 3? There was no more quest for him to go on. Him and the Furious 5 didn't, have any more, training to do. They didn't have anything else to do. There was nothing left in the world to really do. So I don't know why we're getting this, and I don't even really think that like this is needed at all. Because especially kind of like the whole plot of Po kind of taking Shifu's spot, the whole reason that like Shifu taking Master Oogway's spot worked so well beforehand is because even though it was just the first movie, you felt kind of an emotional attachment to Oogway, and you could kind of tell that like eventually Oogway was gonna pass the torch on to Shifu anyways. But like, Shifu doesn't really seem like he's old or anything like that, and it's not like Shifu's been the master of the Valley of Peace for like the past 20-30 years or whatever. Po's only been a Dragon Warrior for what, like 5-10 years maybe, or something like that. So it's not even really that I feel like they're kind of forcing the whole like passing the torch to Po from Shifu, because like I feel like them, trying to do the whole passing the torch thing with Shifu and Po is kind of forced, because with Oogway it worked because we had kind of, because we had been told that, Oogway was the master in the Valley of Peace for, decades and probably even a century, even just because of how old he was and how much he had seen and shit like that. So them trying to do it from Shifu passing it to Po, it just really kind of feels forced. And it don't really feel like Po is, earned that yet. So I don't really think that it'll work as much. Now, this is only, one trailer. The movie might be good. I don't fucking know. But I don't feel like this is really needed at all. And I know I keep repeating that, but I just really don't feel like a 4th movie is needed. Like, because even when they were doing a trilogy, it was kind of like, stretching it a little bit thin with the story that they were going to tell, but it still ended up being good. But with a 4th movie, it's rare when movies get a sequel, right? Now you want to try and do a 4th movie? You want to try and do a 4th Kung Fu Panda movie? Kung Fu Panda does not need a 4th fucking movie. It's kind of like when they make a new Scooby-Doo cartoon again, and it'll be like the 50th time they've made a new Scooby-Doo cartoon. We don't need a 50th Scooby-Doo cartoon, just like we don't need a 4th Kung Fu Panda movie. We just don't need it, because it's like there's not 4 movies worth of story you can tell for Kung Fu Panda. And I'm not really excited for it, because I'm like, well, what else are they gonna do? It just gets to the point, it's like, okay, they're gonna give Po, you know, the spiritual master and the little wolf girl is gonna be the dragon warrior. Is that the plot? Like this, I kind of feel like I can guess the plot before the movie even comes out. And I'm not trying to be, you know, like a Debbie Downer about the movie and everything. I just don't feel like we need this. We didn't need a fourth Kung Fu Panda movie. Just like we didn't need just like we don't need sequels and trilogies for a lot of things. We don't need a fourth Kung Fu Panda movie because there's not four movies. It's not a fourth. There's no story left to tell with Kung Fu Panda. And I feel like at this point we're stretching the plot so thin that it's just gonna rip apart, and the movie's just gonna seem bland, and it seems like it would just be a waste of time.